Hey everyone, this is Dan, the GM, bringing you episode 165 of What the Dice. 10 episodes left, my friend. 10 episodes left. Wow, it has been a roller coaster. But I'm going to shut up quickly. I just want to do our normal administrative stuff. So don't forget, we have not only a Discord, but we are on Blue Sky, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we have a Patreon. If you want to know where you can find us, if you head on over to whatthedice.weebly.com, you'll be able to find links to everything and everywhere we're available. But I'm done. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. So, enjoy this week's episode, my friends, and I'll catch you later. It's a quiet evening. We're sitting at the docks, feet dangling over, the water just reaching up and barely touching our feet. The smell of salt is strong in the air. This morning, the town got the message. This outpost, as they call it, has no strategic value right now. They will send what forces they can spare, but the city will not be able to help. The Paladin Order has sent a few people to help keep at least security. They don't believe this town's going to get hit, but the way things have been going, who, what, ever has started this war is doing assault the earth. Magic is waning pretty quickly, to the point of clerics don't have the power they once had. Even the sorcerers and the mages that normally cast fireballs without a caution seem to be more reserved. As we sit there, we feel the presence of someone behind us. As we look back and then up, we see the storyteller. He sits down next to us and looks at us with a smile.
Well, me friend, here you are. I saw you pass a few hours ago, heading down to the ocean side. I know the call of the sirens well. The ocean, she is a mistress, a lover. That salt air can help clear the mind, and feeling the water on your skin helps soothe the aches and pains of life. But I know I have seen war. I have seen death. And this war is a long time coming. I'm sure that the fear of death is not in one like you. An adventurer, someone who has seen and faced down many a strange creature. But this is different, isn't it, my friend? The fear that magic is disappearing. Well, speaking of disappearing, and speaking of war, the adventurers have found a map that leads to the Cannibal King's lair, or so they think. Found in a strange junk heap with a stranger Naga. They must head back to Nari and continue the travels. Well, my friends, enjoy the salt air, relax, and hear me tale.
In the last episode, you guys stalked and bothered a innocent little shopkeeper that just was trying to sell his wares in a strange table that Defibulus became very obsessed with. In the process, you were also able to get some maps, some armor, and some other miscellaneous items that will be beneficial for the team to have. Also, Kalila knocked over a pile of junk and took 20-something points of damage.
I don't know.
Thought she more fell off of it.
I didn't fall off. It fell on me.
Yeah, it was more of that was she was starting to pull herself up and it kind of fell on her.
Still fell off of it.
Also, I don't know where you're getting this stalking business from. We didn't stalk nobody. If anything, he stalked us every time we exit. Like, how did he know we were gonna be leaving that building, huh?
And knew about this, the turtle things I want to do to the turtles.
Yeah, who's doing the stalking now, mister?
We'll come back the next morning. You guys have had your meal. You've had a good long rest at Nari's library. And come morning, Nari has gotten breakfast for everyone and is still working on laying out the maps in a fashion that is starting to kind of make sense and understand where routes have come and gone. But there seems to be something missing.
Oh, okay, so I didn't give her my maps yet.
Correct.
All right. Well, after breakfast, Lila will dig out the maps that she got, not the ones that are the local trails and stuff from her home area, but the 2 volcano maps.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, I think these will be of use.
She lays them out and sits down with you and begins to look at the maps and begins to orchestrate a understanding of what's going on. Nari nods, and it looks like they're setting up maybe in these old caverns.
It looks that way. These old volcano tunnels. If it's gone dormant, they're perfectly safe.
Right, but I know that's one of the big volcanoes that went off a couple of years ago. There's nothing except a giant crater at the top. So, I mean, if you're trying to hide a kingdom, that is a very
place than in a caldera that no one's brave enough to go to.
Especially when it's surrounded by orcs. Yeah, like
And it could be fire orcs.
Yeah, this is true too.
She goes, do you have a regional map of the different types of orcs and kingdoms? Not necessarily the trade routes and blah, 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 but who owned what territory and when?
Yeah, I think so. Give me a sec. She walks over and pulls out a scroll, opens it up, looks over it, puts it up, grabs a different one, then walks over. So that particular volcano was mountain and fire orcs that kind of warred against each other until the volcano exploded. Most people thought both those tribes were wiped out because they were fighting on the volcano crest. Like, their fights were right next to the volcano itself. Like,
okay, well, assumptions aside, how long ago was that?
That volcano went off about 8-9 years ago. So they were pretty dominant about 10 years ago.
All right, what about this Elven King?
There's not a lot we know about him. We know that he came literally out of nowhere and set up a kingdom. And
where?
She points to a small area where the elves kind of meet the mountain edge. There used to be a small trading town. I mean, it wasn't even big enough to consider a town at the point where we found it and studied it. But that's the last place I knew. He set up himself there as a king.
It's so interesting that everybody knows the Cannibal King, but nobody knows anything about the Cannibal King. How can you guys follow a king and not know anything about him and his territories like all the other kingdoms?
It changes.
That quickly?
She nods, and anytime we ever wrote anything down about him, by the time the ink dried, it was gone, as if someone erased it from history.
Well, that's a pattern.
Yes, and we're not sure how that is done, and I have asked the ferryman, and I've never been able to get an answer.
All right, well, that's fair. What does Redeyes know about him? Because when I brought up this elf and the connection to the past and how I am suspicious of him being involved in our quest, he laughed at me.
Redeyes views him as a threat, but cannot prove that he is a threat. He has actually been wanting to kind of release information to armies to see if he can't get the above grounders to attack and wipe that kingdom out. He feels that it is a massive threat to everyone because of how he keeps being able to disappear. I know that he wants to do something. He knows that there's something going on. He knows that the Cannibal King is helping somebody, but he won't really tell anyone anything.
She goes, well, I have no problems discussing it since you guys already know about the items in the quest and us trying to take down a god. I think the Cannibal King worships the bone god. I think he's been working with him for quite a while.
As you say that, the door behind you opens and Redeyes slithers in, and he nods.
As a hello nod or as a I heard what you said and I agree nod?
Both. Redeyes kind of snakes up and gives a nod to you again as a greeting.
I believe you are correct in that. I've had reports from scouts that there's a bone army that has set up on some of the major trade routes in that area. It seems as if the Bone God and the Cannibal King are working in tandem. There has been an increase of metals and weapons and boxes and barrels with the short bolt name burned onto the side of it.
And that also worked with the bone god. Hey, look at that. Your brother reached far and wide, all the way down to the southern Orc and Elven kingdoms. He's dead. Again.
Again.
You heard me. Again.
He takes a deep breath and slowly exhales, and, well, it seems as if you two are destined to deal with this more often than anyone else. So, have we found anything of use?
I think he's hiding in this caldera. She points on the map between all of the maps. I think it's here.
He looks down at it and studies it and nods.
That is very tactfully sound. Be very easy to defend. Getting troops up that mountainside to get the high ground is nearly impossible. And with all those volcanic vents in the area, you could move troops in and out and no one would ever see them.
Mm-hmm. That and these are also along old forgotten trails and trails that were overflown by lava. So if it's a bunch of fire orcs and you said Sylvan was working with orcs, who better to play in a volcano than fire orcs?
He nods.
I wonder if they're using old, since that thing erupts and then stops and erupts again later. I wonder if they're using old lava tubes as tunnels to move through.
That's probably where this map came from.
He looks at the map.
How did you get that map? It's not any of the ones that we normally see.
From your weird, mysterious vendor.
He raises an eyebrow and then looks over at Nari. Nari nods. The one that we found in the desert? He nods.
The one that sells a bunch of junk?
Yes, he's only been here a short time.
A short? How short is short?
Redeyes thinks for a moment, looks over at Nari, and Nari gives a light shrug. 2 years? We found him about 2 years ago.
There's a giant cavern in the middle of your city filled with a bunch of things.
Redeyes raises an eyebrow and nods, and I'll have to look into that.
He also said I should talk to you about finding armor or pieces to upgrade and fix up my armor. Says you have some.
He looks over at your armor and nods. Yes, the ferryman actually sent me something that looked like it would fit in your armor. They're strange, what feels like ceramic plating. They're small, about the size of a coin. Looks like they could be easily packed into the armor if you needed to. I can have the box delivered to you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But I did find it weird that weird guy seemed to know about it too.
He's always been a quiet sort. I didn't take him to be a merchant. He looks at Nari, who kind of gives a light shrug. I wouldn't call him a merchant so much. I mean, he basically sells junk for next to nothing. Every now and then he's got something of value, but very rarely.
He has many things of value. You shouldn't underestimate him.
Nari nods. Okay, then let me rephrase. Anytime he has ever brought me anything, it has been junk. Things that have been heavily damaged, things that don't even serve a purpose.
But some of it is disguised. Can I see those arrowheads, Defibulous?
Yeah, sure, here you go.
She'll find one that looks particularly rusted and hand it over.
Painted on there, by the way.
Nari looks at it and runs her nail across and scrapes off the dust and nods. He's never had this before. These look like pieces of mithril.
They are.
She goes, well, the first couple of times he approaches, it was nothing but complete junk. Although I swear he has the same lantern that he says won't break, hits it 3 times on the table, it breaks on the 3rd, puts it down as I guess it broke, and then it was back. Again.
Nari gives a light shrug. I've never seen I have seen the lantern. He's never talked about it, though. No, I mean, when I say he rarely ever has anything of value, I have gotten some nice letter openers from him and a few pieces that I've needed, but it's never been... It's hit or miss. Very hit or miss.
Oh, I'm not doubting that. I'm just merely proving the point of... Don't judge a book by its cover. This guy has things. Maybe not readily immediate, but underneath the surface. You can investigate that later. I think it's the caldera. We need to upgrade his armor.
Redeyes looks at the two of you, the map, and then back up. He goes, well, if you are planning on going after the Cannibal King, I might have an option. The Cannibal King has many, many guards, and a frontal assault by 2 heroes would be nearly suicidal.
Whoever said we were going to do a frontal assault?
He smiles and looks at Defibulous, then back at you. What if I said I have a way for you to deal a decisive blow towards the Cannibal King, and you won't even have to be within arrow range?
She'll look at Defibulous.
Not within arrow range, but still within my range.
Actually, I think I have longer range than you.
Maybe.
What if I told you the ferryman gave us a gift? Something to deal a strike to an enemy that hides. Something that would be helpful, but also means you would have to put yourself in a potential dangerous situation.
Ever since I left my village, I've been in a potentially dangerous situation. Go on.
We have found in the sands a box containing something that I believe Defibulus can use skillfully. But it does take 2 people to use it from what we have learned. Give me a few moments and I will return with it. He turns and snakes off. Nari just kind of watches the interaction for a moment and gives a light shrug of, Redeyes seems to trust you.
All it took was me yelling back at him.
She kind of chuckles and, yeah, I think that's how it works with him. He's an old soldier, and I think that's one of those things if you kind of have to prove you're willing to fight back for him to be willing to give you an inch.
If you're not yet willing to fight him, who are you willing to fight?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's how he works. At least that's how the guards work here, too, so.
Good to know. Would have been more useful to know earlier.
It's not like I can give certain information out willingly.
Yeah, that's fair.
True to his word, a few moments later, he comes back with a box with the small ceramic discs for Defibulus and a wooden crate. Opening it up, you see a dark green tube with a set of what looks like a spyglass. He shows you the armament that it uses. It is a long, cylindrical tube with an arrow-like head. You see a symbol that you recognize from both Godspell and the Miranda. Defibulus would recognize it as the symbol of high explosives.
I already like what I'm seeing.
From what we have determined based on the limited information we have found in the books, this is some kind of high explosive tube. The scholars and the mages and the bone casters who speak with the ferryman cannot get him to give us a solid answer on what it is or what it does. We were told that it would be in use for a decisive strike against a powerful enemy. And I believe that the bone god and whomever worships him and live under his banner are poignant enough to be the big threat that the ferryman has talked about.
All right, how do we use it?
He pulls out a small manual and hands it to both of you. As you look over the manual, you can tell that the spyglass is kind of a targeting system, a sight for the missile launcher, or the missile tube that it talks about. One person spots, the other one will get relayed information, and you basically pull the trigger and it will fire. It does talk about, it is a single-use item that, there should be it is reloadable if you have the equipment. But you only see a single missile in here. It does look very reminiscent of the larger bullet casings that Emma had loaded into the quad cannon that Defibulus used.
I think we'll have fun with this.
Oh, yes. Very much so. How big of an explosion did you say this might cause?
Large enough to possibly reignite the volcano.
Oh, so we're gonna want to be a far distant. And how much of a range?
Far enough away that an arrow can't hit you, I know that much. The spyglass we've been able to see up to just about under a mile away from our studies.
Okay, then.
It seems as if the ferryman has given us this gift, and I feel like it is time for us to use it. Well, when I say for us to use it, for you two to use it.
Well, the Defibulus, yeah, you always wanted to go with bigger explosions.
Yep, there's generally nothing wrong with that.
I can just hear Clyde groaning in the background.
I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up and told me not to.
If he does, I'll make sure to keep him at bay.
It's gonna be, oh no, Defibulus, don't point that at the volcano. You'll cause the volcano to blow up. Defibulus, oh, but that's the idea. Are you insane? Probably. I think I've had this entire conversation plotted out in my head for a
I
while.
think so too. Seems about right.
Redeyes stares at Defibulus as he goes off on this tangent. Looks at Nari, who is clearly holding back a chuckle. And then slowly closes his eyes, closes the box, and slides it towards you.
Kalila's going to smirk and go, glad you didn't change your mind.
I don't make a habit of disobeying the ferryman.
I wonders if C4 would have done it too.
Yeah, but you have to get close for C4 to work.
Yeah, I know, but I'm still curious now.
I mean, we have snuck into orc encampments before. Maybe we can attach the C4 to the thing.
Now we're out.
We're out? No, we don't. We have 2.
I thought we used it.
No, we still have 2 bricks. At least I'm pretty sure because we didn't use any in the Miranda.
No, you told me not to.
Exactly. So we have 2 bricks left. That being said, she'll look back down at the map and try and judge how long of a journey this is going to be.
It would be a several-day trek to the area where the vents open up to where you could actually get inside them. Once inside, it's hard to tell how big or how vast the interconnected network would be.
And we don't want to get caught, and we want to stealth around, so yeah, okay. All right. Well, Redeyes, since you're the one who also tends to pay attention to all of the military happenings going on, what's going on north of us? The only reason why we came, honestly, through the desert, or at least we were heading out to the grassland before we got literally derailed, was because there was a bunch of forces up north. What's going on at Hold's Keep? What's going on with the Golden City? How bad is it up there? And how quickly do we need to move?
The Holy City has its defenses up. They are expecting a bigger force to head their way. Hold's Keep has been true to its name and has been holding back mostly orc and giant and a few other smaller, large creatures of bone at bay. The Holy City itself is dealing with more humanoid-size skeletons, things of kobold and human and elven and dwarven nature, nothing that their troops have not been able to keep at bay. Hold's Keep can't hold out forever, but they are holding very strong. As for the plains, there was a recent forest fire that spread into the plains that burned much of it down. There's nothing out there that we've seen recently, but if you are planning on sneaking into this caldera, coming from the north might be your best option. The south seems to be the way that they are transporting supplies in. I do know of a few old abandoned mine tunnels that the dwarves stopped using. There might be a way in from there. There may even still be old mining carts that you could use to get through a little quicker. Or you could cut through the plain itself and keep low to the ground. You should be okay.
From the north it is. Seems like that's the fastest route. We're pretty good at stealthing around. And then we don't have to worry so much about all of the forces that are down south. That, and I believe from where we're at here in the canyon, that's the closest, right?
From here, yes. Going north and then heading into the mountains should get you pretty close. It's a lot faster than going south. And you wouldn't have to be worrying about cutting through any orc encampments.
I wonder if we can eventually send some help to Hold's Keep.
Well, as it stands, it seems as if every kingdom has been dealing with their own small dealings with bone armies. Some of them are more zombie-esque. Some of them are more corrupted-esque. It just depends on your region.
I wonder if we can get the rat people to send help to Hold's Keep.
Right? Entire city of experienced adventurers.
They are still dealing with corrupted Fae, keeping their kingdom fairly pinned down.
I thought we fixed that problem.
We fixed it with the immediate inside the city, not necessarily out in the main forest.
That, and they would have to find a way to get through the oceans, and the oceans are honestly some of the most dangerous it has ever been.
Why?
We have seen an increase in sea monsters. Old oceanic dragons have re-emerged and are making their territories well known. Storms are coming out of nowhere and lightning is striking boats.
Sounds familiar.
It's almost as if the gods themselves, or the bone god himself, has found a way to turn nature against us.
Yeah, that definitely sounds familiar.
Shame I don't have enough C4 to send to Hold's Keep with a note on how to use it right.
I do know that a small weapons manufacturing group has helped move into Hold's Keep. And they have found ways to create underground explosives, things that if a creature steps on it, it rains shrapnel up from the ground, and has been dealing and helping with the
I
enforcement.
think that's Lily, or Lotus, whatever it's called. Lotus, Lily, Flower Girl?
Yeah, that sounds like something you do.
It's alright. Well, I've never been one to overplan. This sounds like good enough for me. What about you, Defibulous?
Yeah, I'm ready to get the show on the road. I just need to fix up a few things here for Mugen, my armor, and my little turtle friends, and I'd be good to go.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Well, we just had breakfast. Any way I can help?
Redeyes looks over at Defibulous. I can assist in reinforcing your armor so that you can work on your companion's equipment.
Oh, that'd be appreciated.
He nods. He coils himself around and sits at a table and asks you to remove your armor so that he can begin to work on it.
This part disconnects from that. This takes out this. And here you go.
I'm not gonna lie, I heard that in my head. And like the whole, like, this bone connects to that bone.
That was the point.
Kalila, as everyone else is working, you notice that your little rat companion has kind of disappeared into the deeper parts of the library. You can see his tail drill bit kind of scraping across the ground as he is dug into what looks like an old wall.
We'll go find him, see what he's doing.
He is what looks like digging in the wall and it's like trying to grab at something.
Need help, Mugen? You normally don't just dig at things.
He steps back, looks at you, looks at the wall, looks at you, looks at the
Okay,
wall.
I have long arms, and she'll crawl down and stick her arm down, whatever, and try and grab whatever her rat was investigating.
You feel what feels like a bag. Something where it's like braided cloth.
She'll pull it out.
As you pull it out, you find a small duffel bag. Something that you've seen with Emma. Inside, you see more of those strange metallic plates. These are a little bit thicker, though. And it looks like it has more intricate parts, pieces that interlock over what looks like ears and reinforcement places for, like, the tail.
Is this something she can figure out, or does she need a defibulus?
You could always roll an intelligence check.
I do have engineering.
Okay, you can roll an
Wait,
engineering
you
check.
actually have engineering?
Yeah, I picked it up a couple of levels ago because Kalila's always listening to what defibulus is breaking down because she's like, what in the heck? And you're like, oh, it's simple, blah, 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 this and this and this and this and this. So I figured she retained something. She knows not to cut the purple wire.
Always cut the purple wire thing.
That's what makes you go flying backwards.
And did anything bad happen?
Technically, yes. You took damage. Remember the whole yelp?
Yep, but that's not the damage part I remember.
But you also took fire damage.
When don't I take fire damage?
Yeah, that's fair. All right, not a bad roll for engineering. 16 on dice, so a 21. That's not bad.
With a 21, you lay out the pieces and you begin to more puzzle them together. You know, like line up pieces that have the same kind of markings on them. After a few minutes of doing it, you realize that this is an extension armor to what he is currently wearing. Looks like it will increase his armor strength, but not slow him down at all. And it looks like they are, again, this strange magnetic. You just have to figure out how to get them to activate.
There's no buttons. How did defibulus do it last time?
They automatically attached at that point.
Can she remove the old ones, or is this put on top of new ones?
It looks like they actually mount on top of.
Just hold it up and see if the magnets do magnety things.
You can feel a slight pull as the magnets are starting to work. It looks like you're going to have to attach each plate individually, so you're going to have to take time to re-armor him.
She will take the time with this tink. All right, that'll work. And tink. And tink.
Defibulus, I need a... You're doing the armor increase for Mugen?
Yes.
I need an engineering roll.
Wait, I thought she was working on Mugen.
He has Hugin. I have Mugen.
I can't keep it straight, and that's why I said spider.
Hugin came first, who's the spider. Mugen came second, he's later in the alphabet, which is the rat.
I still will not remember this. You're helping the spider.
Okay.
I just need you to roll an engineering check to do the work, to do the reinforcing.
34.
With a 34, it takes you some time and some extra time to, clean each piece off, line it up, sew it in, hide it underneath the armor so he is not super shiny. After both of you are done, you can see Mugen is more of the rat is, his fur is a little bit more dark matted now, doesn't have as much reflection on him. Even his claws that were once silver now seem to take on this muted hue of black as he comes clicking up. Your spider friend has reinforced armor where you can see little sections of almost scale mail style armor inlaid inside their current armor. As both of you finish up, Redeyes finishes the last plate and hands you your duster. It is slightly heavier than it was before, but nothing that you can't adapt to.
Oh, thanks, I appreciate the work.
He nods.
Which Kalila probably, after sprucing up Mugen, she'll proudly come back and probably would have found a time to try on her armor and make sure her new cat folk armor and see if it actually fits her and makes adjustments. But she'll come back up to Defibius and go, "Look, I upgraded Mugen."
Hey, not bad. You do learn how to play with technology.
I listen to you.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, you do. You generally say we need to add more explosives to that.
Yeah, if anything, I encourage the explosives. That's why I'm actually kind of excited about that, pointing to whatever new thing they gave them.
Oh, I'm going to sketch that thing out and see how it puts together and works, and see eventually if I can build my own.
Well, it's midday. I say we get a good meal, rest up, and head out in the morning. Or we rest up now and head out at night, because it'll be a lot easier to trek through this desert at night. But you guys got some good umbrellas, looking at Redeyes.
He stares at you for a moment, and
We are snakes. The heat does not bother us.
Yeah, that's why I was figuring you didn't have umbrellas. I was making a joke. You can laugh at things.
Uh-huh.
We'll work on it.
You do also have the survival equipment from Godsfell that is designed for desert both day and night.
Yes, we were already using that.
If you want to get the food and figure it out real quick, I'm going to go work on the turtles real quick, since I did promise them, and I'm a gnome of my word, that I would fix them up and give them a new paint job.
What colors are you going to paint them?
I was going to let them pick.
Sounds good. I'll get food.
Sounds good.
As you both spend the rest of the afternoon painting your turtles, enjoying a good meal from the Nagas, the sun slowly sets across the desert. And as the new moon comes into the sky, giving the world a blue hue, we end this episode here.
Well, 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 me friends. It seems as if the adventurers are now armored up and prepared to do their travels. The night air for them is much thicker and much more laden with danger than normal. They're about to head into something that even time has hopefully quelched its once deep anger. Volcanoes, my friends. Volcanoes are exactly like war. You never know when and how explosive it might be. But the moon is high, and it is time for us to say farewell for now. But as always, me friends, may the dice gods bless your every roll.
We sit in silence as the storyteller slowly stands, placing his hand on our shoulder. The air around us gets cold as he walks back up the pier and towards his campsite. We here at What the Dice would like to thank Paizo for creating Pathfinder, Epidemic Sound for our music, as well as Sirenscape for our sound effects. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at What the Dice Pod, Twitter at What the Dice Pod, and of course email whatthedicepod@gmail.com. And if you liked our little adventure, please share us with your friends and rate and review us.